Welcome to episode 3 of Quantum Talks, Healing Through Conversations with your girls, Vanessa at My Celestial Life
and Christine at Solely Rooted.
We hope that you and your loved ones are well. Today's topic is spiritual hygiene and discernment.
We come to you with an open heart. May this conversation inspire and provide you with all that you need at this time. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Hello.
What's up?
Hello.
Welcome.
Yes. So we're on the topic today of spiritual hygiene and discernment. Yeah. Right now, I don't really like this energy that I'm in right now. let me change it up because it's feeling scripted and shit, you know?
Yeah. Just flow. Just keep flowing with it. This comes into play with the whole spiritual hygiene, and because I really feel like what we're both feeling, because we're both in a space where we're kind of like, it doesn't feel kosher. It doesn't feel like energy that we want to embody, and it doesn't feel like energy that's coming from us directly.
Right.
So this is when the discernment plays in to know better, to know what is yours and what is not. So I think it's perfect that we kind of feel this way. That way we can literally do the discernment and basically like explain the steps to take for the spiritual hygiene and how important it is to keep yourself cleansed and to keep yourself centered in yourself. Centered in your own energy. So when this happens, you're able to decipher what's not yours and you can send it back to where it belongs. Send it back to sender and transmute it.
Yeah. We're in that space of really trying to figure out what's ours and what's not, so that we can release these layers and these loads that we've been carrying unintentionally, you know? So because we are sentient beings, we're meant to feel, we're meant to we're like sponges, right? So we absorb, but we have somehow forgotten the tools of transmutation and discernment, you know, knowing what is true in our hearts, because for so long we were made to believe a particular set of thoughts, you know, to the point where our memories and everything are fabricated, right? It could be also timelines are fabricated because it comes to a point where if we are in it for so long, if we're unaware for so long, we're not going to know what is ours, right? So your ability to discern is blocked. Yeah.
To tie into what you're saying, and when we say knowing what's yours, what we mean is like when you get to a point where you know yourself to your core, where you know your spirit outside influence, outside of what people tell you to be. When you get to know that a bit, that's what we mean, like your truth, who you are, no matter what you were made to believe. So that's what we mean by knowing what's yours, is like knowing what's true to you. Like if you know deep down you're not like that, or like you have no reason to feel a certain way that you're feeling, or it comes out of nowhere, or let's say you get a thought and you're like, "Ooh, where'd that come from? I don't think like that." Like that's when you know, but you gotta know yourself and know like that's not really who you are on a deeper level.
I just want to offer some clarity on what discernment or discern even means. So discern is to perceive or to recognize. Discernment is the ability to judge well, right? In the Christian context, it says perception in the absence of judgment with a view to obtain spiritual guidance and understanding. I feel like I want to tap into this definition a little bit further, because my understanding of discernment when I go through the process myself is I have to go through some steps, right? So something occurred, I witnessed it, I absorbed it. Now, or maybe I read something, maybe I saw a video, or maybe whatever the case is, I absorbed some information or I came across some information and I'm now sitting with it, processing it. I gotta tap into myself and and ask myself, does this feel right? Does this feel true? Because when you're in that space or that energy of discernment, you can pick up when something is not true. That's why people study body language. People study tones, how people speak, right? So we pay attention to all these little cues that might come up to give us a signal that, you know what, something's off here. So to me, this is feeling. I gotta feel this information, right? So how are we gonna feel when we are bombarded with just a tremendous amount of thoughts and without the ability to process or transmute or decipher what is ours and what is not? Like, how do you get to discernment if you have that going on? And I feel like that's the biggest question that a lot of people have right now. Like, how do I know what is my thoughts? And how do I know if it's spirit, talking to me, God talking to me, my ancestors, my higher self? How do we know? Whose voice is it in our heads, in our ears? Whose voice is it? Right? And to me, my whole body has to feel like it has to feel so right and so good. And that for me comes from the heart. Right? So we gotta have a light heart in order to feel what is discernment. It has to be cleared and free from the heaviness, free from the the loads that you've been carrying for yourself and for others. So we're constantly in the space of having to cleanse, right? So this is when we get into spiritual hygiene. What does that mean for you, Christine?
Spiritual hygiene. Ooh, girl, there's so many levels to it, and I feel like it falls different for everybody, for each person. But for me, I'm the type of person, like, I need, one of my biggest things for spiritual hygiene is alone time. I need alone time. I need time to break away and be in my own thoughts, be in my own space, be in my own energy, because that helps me decipher, like, big time, what feelings that I was feeling, if I was picking up on something else, picking up on somebody else, or picking up on the collective scale. Because me, I've learned that I'm very empathic, meaning that I'm sent, and I'm a Pisces. That comes natural with being a Pisces or a water sign, period. And my rising is in Cancer, so you can say I'm a double water sign, meaning I absorb. I you could I used to say that I can be an energetic sponge, depending. And that's good because that helps me with my empathy, and that helps me to be able to tap into what other people are feeling and really help them feel, less alone, understood, etc., etc. And it helps me with my readings because I'm able to tap into who I'm reading for, exactly what they're feeling, and I'm able to, help in that way. It's like being a chameleon. I'm a mutable sign too, being a Pisces. So anyway, so that's great. But if I do not allow myself alone time, and if I don't allow myself the proper balance between absorbing others and being in other people's energy, and time with myself, it can get a little jumbled, and it could pile on, and I'm like, damn, I'm feeling heavy. Damn. Like I was feeling earlier, yo, I feel like there's somebody sitting on my chest, but I know it's not mine because if I look in hindsight, I have no reason to feel this heavy. I woke up in a great mood. Like, am I tapping into somebody that I need to read for? And that's another thing too. People that I read for, people that I do things for, people that I care about, they kind of stick with me. So that's another thing of my spiritual hygiene. I have to be real discerning with who I allow into my close circle and who I allow to myself to engage with for a certain amount of time. So my spiritual hygiene looks like spending a lot of alone time so I can know what's mine. And when that happens, let's say I'm feeling something, as soon as I'm alone, it's like whatever was here just vanishes. And I'm like, you see, I knew it. That was me. It's cool. No hard feelings. Not saying necessarily that what I was feeling was bad or horrible or toxic. It's just extra energy. And I had to learn that too. Like, just because you're feeling a lot doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. It's just extra energy. And yo, this is what your gifts come with. You gotta learn how to go. You gotta learn how to go about this, and don't be so quick to react. Like, ugh, what is this? What is somebody throwing? Like, no, relax, drink some water, meditate, go make a fucking necklace, and you'll be fine. Just chill. Wait till you're alone, and you'll get the answer. So alone time, being discerning, like you said, feeling, yo, most of the time you have to trust what you're feeling. So trust plays a big game in discernment and spiritual hygiene because you need to trust what you feel. You need that first thought that comes to you softly and not roughly, because they say, when it's in your gut or when it comes subtly, it's more than likely your intuition's not going to put you in a panic unless you're like in danger or something like that. But your intuition is soft. Your anxiety and your paranoia is comes in like a train. It comes in like panic. So trusting that inner voice that tells you, you know, either inner voice or inner feeling, like trusting that first thing and knowing like, all right, you know what, the things that I feel, I've been through enough things where I didn't trust it before and now I do. So trusting your judgment, trusting your initial, I guess you can say, reaction, like how your body is responding to certain things. So not to waver off. Spiritual hygiene means to me like having enough alone time, um, discerning like what to give my energy to and what not, and knowing my limitations and my boundaries, learning what that is, and spending as much time as I can out in nature, taking off my socks, being barefoot, walking on some grass, touching a tree, sitting in some sunlight. Because that right there is like an automatic cleanse. That right there is an automatic grounding. Even me sitting by some water and like watching the waves flow by, I picture the waves taking whatever doesn't serve me or whatever I don't need anymore or whatever the case is, taking that away. And if I can't be by the water, like we spoke about earlier, going into the shower and letting water hit your head, it hit your ori, like even simply washing your hands. We do Reiki, and they say after every session with each client, before and after, you wash your hands. So anything with water, and just being aware, because you could also do different things like taking a spiritual bath and knowing when to keeping your space decluttered, saging, lighting some incense. All of these things help me, and meditating. Do I always do these things? Sometimes I don't, because I get frustrated. Like, yo, what is this? But these are things that I gotta remember. Like, yo, you need to do this because this comes with it. Like, the more you resist, the more you forget to do it, the more you're gonna be out here feeling crazy. Like, I know I'm due for a salt bath.
Yeah.
And I just haven't taken one. And I've been saying this for 2 weeks. but I want to get tight when I'm feeling extra stuff. Girl, you can meditate about the lighter bubble all you want. You got to do a physical thing now. Like,
yeah.
so yes, maintaining yourself, maintaining your frequency, whatever you want. You just got to maintain your center, no matter what it looks like. And trusting that what you feel is valid, because that you have to trust yourself. When you don't got trust in yourself, that vibrates out and it creates ripple effects that come back to you. So
yeah, and if you can't trust yourself, then you can't trust the voices that you're hearing, you know.
exactly.
So yeah, oh my gosh, that's a big one, you know. Part of my spiritual hygiene, just to piggyback off of what you said, yes, on the alone time. Oh my gosh, I'm an air sign, I'm a Libra. So I'm always in my head. I am always in my thoughts. I'm always processing. So for me, it's like when I'm feeling that heaviness, that energy coming on, I gotta go in my head and be like, okay, where you at? Where the energy coming from? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
What thoughts is that? So I'm like sitting on the couch processing it, whatever. But you know what happens in that process? It's like, okay, I'm thinking, but now these thoughts are now generating some sort of energy within my physical body. So now it's weighing on me. So that's where the heaviness comes in, because your thoughts are literally creating the habitat, your habitat within yourself. So, and as within, so without. So for me, my home, right? So constantly clearing the energy in my home, because I'm always in my thoughts. So that thoughts is frequency, it's energy. So it's like reverberating out. So imagine I'm in these walls, in this concrete jungle. So I'm boxed in with my thoughts, just accumulating in this energy that I'm building within my space. So this is why we gotta mind our thoughts. We gotta mind our thoughts. We gotta guard our thoughts, because you're literally creating the energetic cage or the bubble that you're placing yourself in. So if the thoughts are toxic, and then this is what we know, especially from doing Reiki, it's like if we're constantly in a state where we're in a not think I want to move away from using words like toxic, energy, or
Yeah, because
it's
we
so
all
vague at
toxic.
this point. It's so vague. So I'm gonna try to be
Yeah,
specific. So if you're in a state where you're generating unhealthy thoughts, that
that's
you
better.
feel
Yeah.
it in your body, that it's causing something in your heart, it's causing stress, these are the thoughts, right, that you're sitting in. So we got to be mindful of what we're thinking, because it is literally creating our environment. So we have the ability to heal ourselves within the environment that we're in, but we got to change our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
About everything. So perception is a big part of discernment, because we have to be able to see very clearly what it is and what it ain't, that in itself is discernment. So in addition to having alone time, right? Being able to get centered within your own thoughts, your own vibrations, your own energy. Yes, alone time. And I highly recommend a salt bath at least once a week. Salt is very inexpensive, very powerful in cleansing the energy in your aura. And if you can, throw a little bit of alcohol in there as well to cleanse the aura. That was a recommendation from Brother Rod Hayes. If you guys follow him, salt bath and alcohol to cleanse the aura. So
that makes sense. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, because agua, when you use agua florida, that's 70% alcohol.
Exactly.
So if you don't have that on hand, use that alcohol, that good old rubbing alcohol.
Exactly. Exactly. And also for me, so keeping the energy in your home clear. So that means decluttering, sweeping, and wiping down the counters, having, making sure that there's air flowing correctly,
Yes.
You're purifying,
That's a big
purifying
one.
the air in your home with, some type of sage, incense, something that smells good to you, right? Because now that's aromatherapy for you. So once you are smelling this really sweet smelling fragrances, it's doing something on a chemical level for you, for
Yeah.
your mind. So it's shifting everything. Now you're generating a energy that feels so good in your soul, right? So now this energy is flowing into your home. So, and guess what? When people come to your home, they can feel it. Everybody is, we're not doing anything spectacular. Like everybody does it in their own way, and everybody is has those spiritual, gifts and awareness. When you go into somebody's home, you could tell, like, okay, well, something's up. If you see clutter, you know something's up. Then you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Up here.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so you feel it. You feel it in a home, and then there's a lot of nooks and crannies where energy likes to get trapped in the home. So your closets and things like
Yep.
that. So decluttering the closets, throwing out things you're no longer needing, and living a very simple life where you're not fussing over the things in your home. And so that, because that in itself is, you're generating a particular energy in your house, fussing and arguing and always mad and always this and always that, something. So be mindful of your thoughts, because it's literally creating the atmosphere in your home. And you want to cleanse your home often, keeping everything decluttered, cleanse, windows and things like that. Your fridge is a big one too, because if your fridge is out of order and in chaos, you're ingesting that. Now that's a part of your mind, your body, and it's going into your gut. So your gut being your first mind, so that is your ability to sense here.
One thing that's big for me that I left out was what I eat
Mm-hmm.
and what I take into my body. Um, I in my 20s, I didn't take care. Sometimes I didn't take care of myself at all, and I was depressed and I was anxious all the time. I was always on edge. I was just miserable, and people don't realize like it's all connected. Like your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your your thoughts, your habits, all of that plays a part on your soul. Like people, um humans are known to, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm talking crap, but like humans as a whole, we are designed to, we talk about soul all day. Soul, my soul, and forgetting that your soul and your spirit is one, and it connects everything else, your mind, your, so it's like the things you consume and the habits that you partake in, like that plays such a big part on your spirit and how you feel and your body reacts to these things. So in my 20s, I didn't eat healthy at all. I didn't eat vegetables. I didn't eat nothing. Like there would be days where the only thing I would eat would be a large coffee, living in New York, a large coffee and like a butter roll or bacon, egg, and cheese. And then maybe some mac and cheese at night, depending if I felt like cooking.
Wow.
Or you feel me? Like, it was bad. And I used to get sick. I used to get migraines all the time, way more frequently than I do, like maybe 3 of them, 4 of them a month. Like I used to get them really bad. I got ulcers. I was an insomniac. And then when I started to do some research on some things, I saw that documentary, What the Health. Um, and when I started to, and then my grandmother passed. And when I started to realize like the things we consume really affect not only our physical health, but our mental health too, it blew my mind because I never heard of that in my life. So long story short, like what I consume is big. Like I don't eat certain things. I don't eat processed food. I don't want to call myself a vegan because these vegan products out here ain't, it's just another form of process. The only thing they don't use animal products supposedly, but it's still processed. So
Right.
I try to eat as much plant-based as I can, only because that works for me. That is what works for me. So I try to eat as many fruits as I can. If I need to be grounded more, I'll eat some grain bread. So what I consume into my body, eating wise, and like what I see, like the things that I watch, the music that I listen to, I'm very versatile. I like it all. Like I like the dark just as much as I like the lighthearted stuff. But I know after a while, if I catch myself consuming a little bit too much, I know it's gonna affect me in some way, shape, or form. Like I used to watch um nothing but true crime, Snap. I used to watch a lot of things that were rooted in rage, in depression, in um, looking for a way out, things like that. And then that was all I was feeling throughout my whole 20s. So then, we consume these things, then we wonder why that's all we're about, or that's all we're feeling, or we get mad for no reason. Like it's not just what we've been through, it's also what we allow ourselves to consume on a daily basis.
Mhm.
So being discerning and finding that balance on what we take into our spirit, it plays a role. How do you think, want to get deep or you want to get deep? Like the programming that we live in society, when they come out with certain things, why you think the news reports the bad more than the good is to keep people in fear. And it's just you gotta detach and you gotta watch what you consume because it's gonna affect you on a subconscious level. It's going to affect your spirit. So when you talked about God, I just wanted to talk about the things we consume,
Mhm.
food wise, and like I guess you could say screen wise or physical wise and things like that, because it all plays a part on us as a whole.
Mhm. Absolutely, because everything that we take in it becomes information, so
Yeah.
you have to be mindful of the types of information that you're taking in, because it becomes a part of you, right? It
Yeah,
becomes a part of
there
you.
you
It's
go.
like we said earlier about not knowing to decipher what are our thoughts, because there's an influx of information coming in, and we have to sit there and process it. So imagine, on top of not having the tools to process this heavy weight of thoughts, now it's resulting in a physical ailment in your body, right? On top of all of that, you're eating poorly, you know? So you could, and me, I was a vegan for about a year, and then I went more. What resonated with me more was intuitive eating, so eating what I am desiring at the moment, so not really
Mhm.
depriving myself of anything, but I'm eating it with loving intentions. I'm eating it, I'm not, like, I'm mindful of how I'm eating, when I'm eating, what I'm eating. I am, but I don't need to be a vegan to do that, right? But if I'm eating mindfully and lovingly and nurturing my body, if I'm in that vibration, then whatever I'm ingesting, it's going to transmute. It's going to take on the form of the energy that I'm already feeling, which is, oh, this
Mhm.
feels good to my soul. You know what I'm saying? Rather, where I'm eating for to drown out my emotions and sadness, and
Yeah.
and guilt and anger and shame. Now, because that, what you're dealing with, is on another spectrum, right? And that, those thoughts, it literally creates the havoc in your body when you're tapping into that energy, right, of fear,
Mhm.
of shame, guilt. We all feel it because it's heavy. We all feel it. We know the difference of it. So once we're able to understand and know the difference between what it means to feel that heaviness and what it means to not feel that heaviness, because we've also been in that vibration, we know what it is to feel light and feel good, and we know the difference at some point in our lives, right? At some point we had to have been on both ends of the spectrum. Now you have the ability to discern, because you've already experienced all these feelings. Now you can decipher, okay, boom, like this here is not feeling like what I know to be happiness.
Yeah.
Even though it's being presented that way. So what is it then I need to look at within myself? What is it here that's being presented? So now you start asking the right questions to yourself, because that's creating an awareness now. Now you want to ask questions, you want to see what's going on. So you're zeroing into that particular thing. Now you're getting focused about that particular thing, right? So going back to the religious definition of this discernment: perception in the absence of judgment, with a view to obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding. So zeroing in to this piece of information that you're trying to decipher without judgment, right? Because you want to get to the bottom of whatever this thing is. Without judgment is how you're going to enter that space. Now, once you're able to focus and zero into this one thing at the moment that you're trying to discern, because you're getting clarity now, right? So clarity is part of it. You're starting to now see a little bit more clearer. The perception is shifting a bit. Now you can see it in a different light. Now the spiritual guidance and wisdom, and now you hear the different voices. Now you hear what's your voice. You hear what is the voice of God, your higher self. If you want to tap into that, you can discern, okay, oh, that's definitely not my voice, because that's my mother's voice. I'm hearing right now. You know what I'm saying? In the way that I'm thinking, right? So it's so many layers of processing. One, where you are now. It's all about being present to where you are now. Because if you're in, let's say you're somebody, right? We've all been there. You're somebody who's working just mindlessly. You know you got to get up at this time. You go to work, you clock in, you do what you got to do, boom, boom, boom. You leave or whatever. You come home, cycle, 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 cycle. Same thing every day. You know what I'm saying? So we've been in that space to just be going and going and going and going, but then the thoughts are just there, stagnant, you know?
Yeah.
So we need to make time to process these thoughts so that we can come into that space of truly knowing within our hearts, which is discernment, right? So that's now taking care of self, the spiritual hygiene, so that you can clear away those energetic blockages. You can clear away the energetic debris in your auric field, or your, you know, your personal space around you, clearing it away. So what did we mention so far? So we have alone time, spiritual bath with just some salt and some alcohol, grounding in nature. That's a big one for me too. Yeah, like it's an instant clarification and
It's a
instant.
must.
Yeah, it's so much.
It's a must.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I love New York. I love home so much, but that lack of nature, yo, it gets to me after a while. Like I spent, yo, this last time I lived in New York, I lived there for 2 years. And yeah, I will go to the park, I will go sit in the, but like true nature, it starts to take a toll. Like now I'm no longer in New York. I live in Florida. There's way more wildlife here, but it's still like an urban community. It's still like a urban, so it's not as like I lived in Louisiana before this, and I was in the country. Yo, where I lived at, I lived. That shit was a crazy experience too. Yo, I got stories for days. Like we gotta do story time. But I lived in Louisiana, and I would look in the backyard, and all you would see was trees and animals. Yo, you didn't see other people, and I loved it. What, waking up to just, there was more nature and more animals than they were people, than there were houses and cars and all this shit. Like I love people, don't get me wrong, but it was more that than other energy and other things. because even the people that I was staying with, they weren't the best energy to be around. They keep it straight cheese. But I was able to X all that out because I had a bunch of goats and a bunch of chickens and shit. I was like, all right, y'all go do what y'all do. I'm be over here with the goats and the chickens and the cows. And yo, that shit was everything to me. Yo, everything. And then I moved to a more rural part where it was literally me, one other person, and just the silence. And it's just, I felt like I was at my, even though I was going through something, thinking back now, like my vibration, my aura, and all of that stuff, it was just on a whole nother level. So it's a must. It is a must for me. And I've realized over the years how important that is for me. Even if I live in a place where I have to have the means to be able to get up and go and be in some nature quietly. Like I have to. I mean, that's what we were really born to be and doing it anyway. That's our natural state. All this other shit is just noise. Because if you don't know how to be in nature, if you don't know how to be silent, if you don't know how to be like centered in these things, like when all of this disappears, what do you have? Like, what do you? But that's another conversation. But yeah, nature and dancing too, to add on to the list. Dancing. We both dance. So I know.
Yes, yes. No, it's a whole physical transformation within your body, like
Yeah.
literally on a cellular level, especially when you take in the music that you're listening to, right? That's why it's so important to be mindful of what you're listening to, because music has a particular frequency. All musicians know that, and they can literally program the sound that you're hearing. That's what we're doing when we listen to binaural beats or singing bowls and things like that. We're literally programming um uh we're programming what you're hearing, right? Okay, it's a particular program embedded in the sound frequencies and you're taking it in. So it's important
Mhm.
to be mindful of what you're listening to, because everything has a particular frequency attached to it, right? So yeah, so when you listen to the music and then you dance and your body moves to that really high vibration, and it feels so good. What it's doing is generating a feeling, right? It's generating a feeling like, oh, this feels so good. And you want things to feel good. You want things to feel good, right? That way when it doesn't feel good. So you gotta be like, okay, when you got something sitting on you, it's like, okay, this does not feel good. This is
I don't
something
like it.
else.
I don't like it.
Right? What is that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what else I was gonna say? So part of aromatherapy for me, like I like to wear oils. So
Oh,
I
yes.
Exactly. So having
Yo.
something to smell like, and especially if it's a naturally scented, whatever it is that feels good to you. So I like to wear oil. So I'm anointing myself in these oils. So it's like when I rub it on my skin, it's a whole ritual, right? Because I am embedding my own prayers and infusing my own prayers into this oil onto my skin, so that it's already creating a barrier, right? So that it cannot seep into my skin, whatever this thing
Mhm.
that's floating
Mhm.
around wants to do. So there's so many things, this is all part of spiritual hygiene. We can be so creative in what works for us. You mentioned earlier, like I had to do it a couple of days ago. I had to wet my head, and I had forgotten about that tool, but I was sitting here like, oh, I need to process this information, walking around here like, ah, but I'm like, I need to process it. I'm like, you know
Yo,
what? Let
I
me
did that
just wash
today.
my head real quick.
Yo.
And I'm feeling much
Oh,
better
shoot.
since I like just let the water run down on my crown. It was like, oh my God, because what was I processing? Like what?
You
Like
forget
what was
about
the
it.
outcome?
Like right down the drain. Please go right down the
Listen,
drain with the rest of the
there was
dirt.
literally no outcome to be sitting in that energy. Like, what was the? I don't see it. Like,
Yo,
I'm feeling much better because I did that, and now I have the clarity to see, like, okay, so then that's how we know that was not our own. We were taking an energy from the collective. We were taking an energy from our surroundings and everything that's going on. Maybe I've been on social media too much, and I'm ingesting what I'm seeing.
yeah,
You know
I need
what I'm
to think.
saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a
that's
whole
another.
lot I'm
Yeah,
processing or whatever, and I'm feeling, and I have to be clear of what is mine and what is not mine, so I can move forward in truth.
that part is so true. And I want to piggyback on the dancing. The dancing as spiritual hygiene too is like you're moving that energy out of your body. When you start to sweat, you're like detoxing. So and I'm not gonna front, when I dance, I feel like I'm dancing with my spirits and my ancestors. Straight up. Every time, especially to house music. I mean anything. I dance to anything. But house music, yo, son. And reggae, yo, girl, you don't even know. You
Okay.
don't even know this red gal right here. You don't even know.
Listen.
Yo,
Okay.
I'ma get
Okay.
down. You feel me?
Okay.
Yo,
Hey, all
that
right.
right there. That's how I know my ancestry, whatever. But dancing, no, it was crazy because I was talking to this. I met this santero through one of my ex-lovers, and he was a mortician. Not to make the long, he was a mortician, and I met him at a house event. You know how sometimes in Brooklyn in front of Barclays they just play
Yeah.
DJs,
Yeah.
and so 2 years ago she invited me to this, and I was being a side. I was like, it's late, that. But I went and we, yeah, being an old woman, um, I went and then we just danced. We danced. She went, she did her thing. Long story short, talking to him, and he was saying how we were talking about how healing dancing is, especially house music. And he was saying that one of his ways after he's done a long shift of or a few shifts being in the morgue and the mortician, so he's a mortician and he's also a spiritualist on that level. He would say one of his best ways to cleanse was to go to these events and dance, because he's dancing away all the energy, because he's absorbing, because they would talk to him. The bodies that he was preparing, he would say, yeah, they talk to me all the time. I see them all the time. And again, that goes back to it not necessarily all being negative, but it's still extra energy. So he would say how dancing and just letting his body be free is one way to shake and move the energy out your body, because if not, it stays stagnant. Exercise, that's another way, like finding ways to move your body and not sitting in that not sitting in there. Like right now, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Um I feel like there was energy shitting. You hear me? Sitting in my chest.
That's exactly what it was doing, though.
Ah, sitting on my chest, and now it's in my womb.
Okay.
So I literally feel like later on today I need to go on a bike ride, or I need to do something so I could get this um feeling out. So it could just be, I try to do the grounding thing. Sometimes your spiritual hygiene, like sometimes for some things, one way will work, or you got to try another way, or you got to try all of them. Alone time, grounding, a bath. You need to dance, you need to work out, you need to do all these things depending on the level of energy intake that you're at, or the level of things that you are feeling. So the dancing, I just wanted to correlate that back to movement. And yeah, yo, we could go on because crying is coming up to me now, like crying and
Oh,
releasing
crying is a big one.
a
That's
big
such a
one.
beautiful one too. Like, and that's another thing. Like when it came to me the other day, like, damn, I could just wet my head real quick and release that. Then when I was finally by myself, the tears just was generating. It was just like, and it just wanted to come out like out of nowhere. I'm like walking around the house and cleaning it. It just wants to come out. I'm like, okay, fine. Let me just let it come out. So crying
Let
is
it
such a
flow.
beautiful way to release. Yeah, like,
It is.
and no judgment to the tears. Like we are not attached to it. Like we're releasing it, in fact, that Santero that you met, I'm I think strongly because we know what it is, especially to dance in a beautiful crowd of like house music lovers. It feels like life. Like dance is
Yo,
life. So imagine working
yo,
with those who have transitioned, dead
I,
bodies, and it's like, yo,
yo,
life. Yo, a house music session is my church. Yo, that is church.
yo, church all
We are
day.
worshiping at a house music event. Everybody
You got
who
me
is
hyped,
a
like.
house head, you already know what it is. Like house is life, dance is life, music is
Home,
life.
house home.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, like,
Oh my
yo,
God. But no, you know what? I feel the same way about Afro beats as well. Like Afro
girl,
beat
that's
and
all
Afro
Indian. That's
beat, like
all
and Afro beat. Like,
people
listen, I need to
thing.
shake this energy out. Like
You
this is what
feel
it
me?
is.
I be in there like, you see me with my leg before the leg go up.
The
Oh,
leg. Yeah. Listen, we gotta let it out. We gotta let it out.
yo, yo, happy feet.
Laughing,
Yo,
laughing.
laughing
The big
too.
one.
You right. Play
Yeah,
all day. I
yeah.
play all day by myself. I be laughing at my yo all day. I'll do something. I just start laughing like, yo, you Chris,
I
you
can
need to
see
shut
you
up
doing that. I can
all
see you
day.
doing that. Like
Like
I
a crazy, like,
actually.
yo, you see me on the train, you'll be like, oh, she too pretty to be all to
Yeah.
be crazy like that. Yo, laughing all day. Cause there was a point where I was so uptight and so in my feelings about life. That laughing, yo, I don't know about you, but I used to be so that laughing, I would laugh for like, huh? And then it would just like go right back to like, I didn't feel it on a
On
soul
some
level.
emo shit?
It was rare, kinda, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was really I used to be a really sad, miserable individual. It was horrible. It was bad. I don't even like I have compassion for that, Christine, but I understand a lot of things that people probably couldn't wrap. I didn't see myself the way God saw me, the way others saw me. Like I really my self-worth
Mm,
was non-existent.
mhm,
Like I knew I was a good worker. I knew I could make money
mm,
and shit. Like I was a good lover or whatever. Like in that sense, or I thought I was, not realizing that a lot of things that day was codependent. And but I didn't know nothing about that. But yeah, I was a sad ass individual, bro. Sad. Shy, sad, always quiet. Fucking yo, it was bad. But anyway, but now like laughing on and just laughing by myself all day. I didn't do that before.
yeah.
I didn't do that before, but now all day period. I just be giggling. Giggling, giggling, giggling. Ditty all day. I just be giggling. Yo, that is so. If I don't laugh for a long time, I'm like, oh no, nah. What's good?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
nah, you have to. Even if you force yourself to smile,
yeah.
like there's a whole meditation where you're just smiling to lift up your. But yeah, yo, dancing, man, Afro beats all day.
All day.
All day. I swear, I could go, yo, 6 hours, 8 hours. I could house and Afro beats and reggae,
Yes.
yo, and my salsa, my bachata, all of that. Yo, I could just for hours.
Yeah.
hours, and I don't stop. I could be out of breath, dying. It don't matter. I would be on the dance floor all day. I love it. I love it so much. Like,
Oh my God. You know what? Like, I love those days when, like you mentioned, some days you just got to do it all. Like, I love that's like a 9 to 5 to me. Like, so I send my daughter to school. As soon as I come back home, whoop, I know I'm on a crunch time right now. So I got to enjoy
yeah,
every little hour. So I blast the music, to its full capacity. I'm dancing. I'm making some good food. And, so I'm generating this good energy in the house that feels like it's just me. So now I can
yeah,
process my thoughts and, I can release how I want to release. If I want to cry, if I want to crazy laugh in the mirror and shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's
mm-hmm.
like, we need that alone time to do all the things, so we're not being judged, or we're not, in the space of wanting to judge ourselves for how wild or crazy you want to be, or whatever word you want to put there. You know what I'm saying? So we deserve that. We deserve to be free in our own space. So
Yeah.
you know what question was coming up, and I wanted to ask you this. For someone who is going through it right now, they don't have the space to think freely, right? To think
Mhm.
freely, to think for themselves. They're taking on a lot of heaviness. And how does that person cultivate that in that space right now?
Um, yeah, I've been going through this for a couple of years where I've been sharing space with others. And again, disclaimer, that doesn't mean I'm not talking about nothing bad or what I'm around is bad. Just putting that out there. It's just, again, a lot of energy that's not my own. And I came from having my own place for 8, 9 years to consistently sharing space. It's not easy. And that's what I've been learning this past couple of years of how to create time and create a system or a way to be able to still stand in your own energy while being constantly surrounded by others. It wasn't easy. If I didn't get my alone time, but yo, son, I would get so irritable. Like, why this fucking people in my face 24/7? Like when I moved back to before I moved back to Brooklyn, I was staying in Virginia and I would get alone time there too. But when I didn't, the person who I was staying with wanted me to show them attention all the fucking time. And I was just like, yo, I'm not trying to be rude right now, mama, but I need to be in my room. Anyway, so it hasn't been the easiest, but it's possible. Like when you take a shower, zone out. One thing that's big for me, and it may come off as being rude sometimes, and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do this, so I wouldn't come off as rude. But put what I do, I put on my headphones. That right there, when I'm listening to music and I have headphones on and it shuts the world around me out, that helps me center it because I'm not picking up sensory from other sources. I'm not picking up what's around me so much because I'm literally am when I put them headphones on, it's just me and the music that I'm listening to, and I'm able to focus because that's another thing. I could be sensitive to a lot of sensory and a lot of things that, like, yo, I feel everything. Everything. I feel thoughts. I feel energy. I feel frequencies. I feel everything from the TV, from a person, from surroundings. That's just, but it helps me in a lot of ways too. Like I used to call it a gift and a curse, but I've eliminated that word curse because it's not a curse. It's only a curse if you allow it to be a curse. It's actually something very magnificent because you could tune into other things that other people may not be able to. But anyway, putting on the headphones, that right there, instantly puts me in my own vibration, taking a shower and really zoning out and using that as a meditation and meditating every day. And I pray for like a bubble of protection, like white light bubble of protection, to where things that are not really going to serve me or excess energy or what have you, that's not that's gonna kind of weigh down on me, like may it bounce off. Like even if it comes to my awareness that it's around me, that it doesn't penetrate and become a part of me. The meditation every day is a big one, and taking advantage of whatever alone time you get. That's like, let's say, and my cousins invite me to some places, and a lot of the times I'll decline because I know that that is my only chance to get alone time. And again, it's nothing personal. It's not because I don't want to, because sometimes I want to, but my mind, my body, and my spirit is like, yo, honestly, and you need to sit with yourself for tonight because you need to process this, or you just need to feel yourself right now. Like I would take a lot of times in solitude and not being so quick to answer messages or be on the phone or feeling being so available all the time. Like some people take it personal. Some people, you never on your phone, or you never, you take hours. And I'm like, I'm not ignoring, like looking at the being and be like, I don't want to answer. No, like it's not even like that. It's just y'all don't understand how much energy it takes to answer 5 messages. At yo, I used to do it. I used to be like this all day in the phone all day. But now, yo, I answered like 4 messages back to back the other day, and I was like, wow, whoo, you know that SpongeBob when he's had his hand on the wall, he's like, whoo, that's how I felt. I was like, wow, this is a lot. Like 4 messages, like 2 DMs and 2 text messages. And I was ready to throw the phone across the room. I was like, wow, that was a lot.
Listen,
It's just I
that's
gotta
the whole
preserve
job
my
for the day. Like
energy.
that's it. It's like a whole job for the day.
And I'm doing readings now, and I'm just in the I have to really just knowing what works for you and finding the balance. If you gotta separate yourself, do it. Don't feel bad, because the people who are really for you and the people who care about your well-being, even if they don't understand it, they will let you be. Like, yo, she be needing her alone time. I don't get it, but yo, I respect it. Yeah, you gotta let her be. Everybody got their own thing. Like knowing when to separate yourself and really put you and your needs first. Put you, I think we covered this in our first episode that we did, like really being able to put your spiritual hygiene and put your needs first, because if you don't do that, how you gonna be able to meet anybody else or do for anybody else or show up in that way? Like you just gotta do that. So yeah, putting on the headphones, being outside. Oh yeah, and being outside as much as I can. I'm always outside. I love being outside. So zoning out, like meditating in the shower, like really using that as you time, making it intentional, like yo, this is me time. um Stepping away from the phone too, because it's not the same as when you're alone, when you're not really interacting with nobody else but the phone. Like if you're sharing space, it's okay. Like we're meant to be in community and stuff, but for people who are a little extra sensitive, like limit the energy you're giving out. Like try to do your best to just um measure that and be aware of that, so you're not burning yourself out. If you have to say no to a couple of things, say no. Like no hard feelings, no, it's not that I don't want to go anywhere. Yeah, people, oh, you don't want to go nowhere, you never want. It's like, nah, that ain't it. But I stopped this way explaining myself too. Again, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be like I got my head up on my ass. But yo, you get it, you get it. You don't just, it's not personal. If you really know me, you know that I'm not trying to be malicious or whatever it is. I need these things. And every time I try to lighten up on them, on my boundaries and stuff, that's boundaries. There you go. Setting boundaries, knowing how much you can take, how much you can do, and when it's time to not do so much and sit back and take rest and relax. Like, um, woo, the thought just left. But we talk about boundaries, right?
Yes.
My bad. The thought just I don't know, it left. But just knowing when to take boundaries and not being scared to do so. When you know that you're gonna be around a lot and a lot of energy more than you're not. You gotta sacrifice sometimes because it only pays off in the end. You're allowing yourself to be in better shape for the long run and for the bigger picture. Because I tell a lot of people like I gotta look out for my energy. I work with energy. I'm working with other people. And if my energy is not okay, if I'm not making sure that my energy is on point, who am I to read for anybody and tell them, oh, you need to do this and this and that for their energy? Who am I to, if I'm not taking my energy serious, I'm not gonna allow myself to make a piece or to read for somebody when my energy is off because they're gonna feel me. We're tapping into each other's energy spaces. I gotta make sure that I'm on point and that I'm not pouring from uh uh I don't want an empty cup, or I'm not pouring from a cup that don't got clear water, clean water in it, because I'm just spreading more of the energy that I've been taking that's probably too high. I'm spreading that. People don't realize how easy it is to spread energy
Yeah.
and to share energy, even if you don't mean to. Is okay. Not saying you do it in on purpose. It's just something that happens. So me knowing that, yo, it's important for me to like take advantage of alone time whenever I can. If I need to get better with this, like going for a walk and just going by myself and riding bike and things like that. But yeah, and zoning out. That headphone joint, that right there does a lot.
Yeah.
Yo, getting lost in a book, even watching a movie on your own, just not being scared to do things on your own, that'll keep your energy intact too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it builds up your stamina and stuff like that when it comes to standing strong on your own 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are the things that I do and I've learned to do and not be afraid to do. Because before I'd be like, oh, I don't want to come off like an asshole, or I don't want to come off like, I can't do that. Because that's not what it is. I like that stuff. I like doing this. I like doing that. But who ends up fucked up at the end of the day? Me. Who got to start up all over again with her energy? Me. Who stays up all night because I'm hearing all this extra chatter that don't even belong to me? Me. And who's delaying my process? Me. You think Spirit's gonna send me somebody to do a Reiki session or a reading or to buy a piece from me if my energy ain't on point? No. Spirit's gonna be like, oh, I see what you're doing, bet. So I'm gonna send this person somewhere else because you're not ready. You're still fucking around here.
Right.
So yeah, yo, and yo, knowing who to like what energy like the people around you, like being real cautious of that.
Yeah.
That right there, I've learned, not meaning you gotta, demonize nobody, you gotta make them feel like shit. None of that. It's again back to boundaries. Knowing what is really for you and what doesn't have so much of an effect. Knowing what you can take in or who you can be around that doesn't oversee your capacity,
Mm.
like just your circle. You gotta, yo, I got stories on that too. But I've
Don't
learned,
we all? Oh
yo,
my goodness. Yeah.
the people you hold close
Yeah.
and the people you surround yourself with, the energy, because a lot of times people are acting in ways that's not even really true to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just layers of conditioning and ego and pain and hurt.
And
So
show
I don't even want to
show for
say
it. Yeah.
the people you're dealing with because on a core level that's not really who they are. So I'm gonna say energies, the energies that you're surrounding yourself with. That shit is important. That
And
shit
their
is
shadows
so
attached to them. They come into a situation, with all of their trauma and the shadows and their unhealed, you know, issues or whatever. So you gotta then deal with that too. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of the package. And like you said, we do these things unknowingly, and it's unfortunate, you know, but it's okay. Like we have the tools now, you know, we know what we need to do. We know what our body feels when it's out of balance, you know. And another thing came to me when you were talking, it's covering the head, keeping your crown covered.
Yeah, and
Right.
I don't be doing that enough. Yeah, I do it at night, but like I used to time.
Right. Because our thoughts, remember, like our thoughts, like just as much as we're thinking and the thoughts are leaving, they could be thoughts coming in. So it's covering our crown at night, and protecting our aura, protecting this space, our crown chakra, because it's the center that is most in tune with our intuition, our higher selves, God, the universe. So we want to be able to know what that sounds like and be able to discern the voices and the whatever the sounds that are coming in, right? So we need to discern what is what and what is not for us, what is for us. And like you said, having those clear boundaries. Yes.
Yeah, my ass be boundless. Like boundary, what? No, unconditional love on this side, but
No, baby. Like you gotta get
you
the
could
boundaries. You
you
know
could
what? You know
still.
what else came up? It's observing. Observing, not absorbing.
Oh,
So we need to be in that space of just observe. So like, if coming back to when you talked about the people that we have in our space, we gotta observe their actions or observe the things like that without reacting sometimes, because you know we want to be able to we want to strengthen our discernment. So before we jump off and start like, oh well, you did this and you do that, you want to observe. You want to watch the movements. You want to see what's being said. You want to see that. You want to feel the energy behind what's being said. Is it authentic? From a place of love? Is it coming from a place of malice? So you're now tapping into that sort of ability to feel, right? So we want to feel now. So going back to what discernment is the ability to feel what is true and what is not. So I say, you know, I always observe myself through my friendships, you know, like everyone is a reflection of me. So
everybody.
yeah, if I'm talking to you and there's a disagreement, I have to come in and check my tone, check what was said. I got to check myself. You know what I'm saying? Oh, maybe I'm not, you know, saying it in a way, like maybe I'm unclear. Like, you know, maybe your ability to hear me is just not there. Maybe I do have to adjust my tone, because guess what? If we're not constantly shifting and moving, I'm not saying we're going to bend over backwards for people, but we have to be in a space of moving and shifting, because we were that way yesterday, it doesn't mean we got to be this way today, because we're going to miss something. We're going to miss a gem that we were supposed to receive because we weren't able to flex and to shift and to move a certain way because we were so stagnant in that space. Then that thing just left. You know what I'm saying? If we had formed a little bit, maybe we would have catched it. You know what I'm saying? So like be like the wave. So we have to be able to bend and be flexible and be able to, you know, to move around, like not so rigid, like, okay, well, because I have this thought and this belief, this is what it is. You know, that blocks our ability to discern.
Yo, hello. You gotta be willing to be wrong.
Yes.
You feel me? And does it come easy? No. Because especially when you've lived a life where people made you feel wrong all your fucking life and you knew you weren't wrong. I get that. Yo, I get that. But in the same junction, like it used to be hard for me to take advice because throughout my life, people were always telling me how to live and not trusting that even if I make a mistake, I'm good. Let me make the fucking mistake. But then it's a reflection because people sometimes they don't like. I used to be because I have that Cancer energy, that mothering energy. I want to give unsolicited advice. And I had to learn when to shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like everybody don't want to hear that. Ask permission first. So now I do my damnedest to make sure, like, are you open to feedback or you're not? Does it always happen? No. But when I feel it, I feel like that spirit is saying, wait. Ask first. Don't just, you feel me? Now I'm very open to, even if I don't receive it well in that moment, I always go back, and you have to be willing to go back and check yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not on some that stank at yo.
There's a lot of people out here like, this is the way I've always been, and I'ma sit and I'ma stick beside me.
And there's ways to do that too, because you could be like that, but it's all about how you go about it and how you say it. Like, yo, honestly, okay, I hear you, but understand, like, this is how I've always lived. This is how I take things.
Yeah.
Because then, people always made me feel like I was this, and that. So it's a little hard for me to. And you know what? I know it's possible because I got people like that. Yeah, like honestly, that triggered me. But I probably know that it should. I know your intention is in love, but people, I've had those type of conversations, so I know that should exist.
I've had to say that recently, like, because I came to observe my own actions, like, damn, like, okay, this person received it this way, but then I realized I had to tell this person, like, oh, I see where I got it from, like from this side of the family and this side of the family, like this is what I saw, this is what I know, and this is how it came out, so I apologize for the way that it was presented, but here's an alternative way to receive it, but you still gonna get the message or whatever it is I got to say, but we can form a little bit and shift a little bit in our delivery, right? So that's another thing with like communication, being able to, so once we're clear, we have that clarity, we have a discernment, then our communication becomes super clear,
and we're able to take accountability.
yeah.
Let me tell you, accountability is part of spiritual hygiene.
Absolutely.
It's part of your discernment, because if you're sitting here not trying to take responsibility, it's going to fuck up your whole equilibrium. Why? Because you're lying to yourself and you're lying to somebody else. Yeah. So what does that mean? You're putting that thing of lying that's inauthenticity. And all the hoofla, all the crystals and sage and meditation and bending in front of a tree aside, a lot of the core and the essence of spirituality is being authentic. And people forget that. Because I'm not trying to throw no shade, but we come across in society as a whole that sometimes people forget about being authentic when you're also being spiritual. People could feel when you're not being, fuck the gimmicks. Fuck how everybody else is doing this new age way of doing spirituality has a lot of things twisted because it's forcing people to be inauthentic, which also negates accountability. Like they say, every person you meet is going to trigger you in some way, bet, but that's supposed to happen naturally, not on some, oh, I'm here to trigger you. So if you can't handle that, like somebody told me that one time and I wanted to my child was like, yo, just backhand real quick.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Not on purpose. That happens in the moment, and you're like, yo, we just triggered each other. Okay, why? Why did that just happen? There's something that we need to work through. It's not on some, I know this is going to set Vanessa off. And you know what? I'm going to push that button because I feel she needs to heal that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Like the audacity of you.
All time high. Like, where we going? What the fuck? Yo, I've been getting, because I've been through it. So it's like, and now when I'm working on my confidence, a little bit of that has gotten to me like, am I avoiding accountability and shit like that? And then I'm like, nah, chill, that's not how you do things. That's not how you, I know that's not how you do things. But back then, it kind of, I almost made me question but spirit stepped in real quick and showed me like what I was feeling was valid. Like, nah, that shit ain't right. Like that's totally off. But this is what I'm talking about, like this accountability and authenticity, and not being so quick to absorb what you feel is going on. I was listening to something that said you can't go by everything you see. You got, like what you were saying, you got to step into how your body feels. Stop fighting what you're feeling, because and yo, there's so many layers, because you got to really get to know yourself, because a lot of the times what we're feeling isn't always accurate, but that goes into knowing to observe, like you said, and not being so quick to react, and knowing where that feeling is stemming from. I don't know if I went off tangent. More than likely I did, but we here. I forgot why I even started saying what I was saying.
You said, and we here, and I was like, and here we are at the same time. Oh my gosh. You know, I think we said it. We said it. Yeah. You know, there's so many gems here, like, and they're so simple too. So simple. Water, smoke, you know, through purification, sense, just sitting with yourself, by yourself, in your own energy. They're all things that we know how to do, and it's not difficult.
Breathing too. Hello.
Come on.
Breath work. You could clear out a whole bunch of energy by just breathing.
A whole bunch of trauma.
By just breathing. I can't believe we forgot that. Well, we didn't forget it. It's here.
We didn't forget. It was there. Like, it was, you know, it was, hey, listen, it was going to come up. Just like with the headband, you know, covering your crown. So these are all simple things. And then, you know what? Going back to that authenticity real quick. You know,
I wish I had a bell. I would have rang it like,
you know, it's just like, you got a lot of folks out there, you know, like you said, getting into the crystals and the sage and the tarot and the this and the that. But, you know, are you getting into it because, you know, you see something that you want to, you know what I'm saying? You see other people do it, so you feel like you got to do it too. Maybe that's not your way, but you know what? You're going to figure that out. You're going to figure that out. Spirit going to tell you that ain't for you. But you got a lot of people, just like how we had religion, how religion came about, where it was like, okay, this is what it is. So we all have to now conform to that.
Yeah.
So I don't want spirituality to be that way. Like, it's been that way, but I'm so grateful that things are shifting, where people are now being able to say, you know what, they can break away from this particular cookie cutter kind of style of doing things. Exactly.
Yes.
So gratefully we can do that, you know. And but then again, as a collective, when we speak of the collective, especially the spiritual community, we can see that a lot of people want to hold on to those inauthentic ways and those cookie cutter ways, and you know, because it's profitable.
It's safe, and it's a safety net. And a lot of it, the spiritual vibe, I had to learn that toxic positivity shit, and the spiritual bypassing. But a lot of what I've learned on my own. Like reading a book, taking what was for me, leaving the rest, or just stumbling upon it randomly. Like because I don't want to say I don't have, but it's not at my disposal, so I can go to an elder that knows about this and be like, yo, you feel me? Or I wasn't immediately surrounded by, like, little by little, they gradually came in, but I knew the importance of really taking time to myself and having to isolate so I could learn my own voice and learn what was for me. Like, I didn't do these readings because I didn't start reading for people because of how gimmicky and how bandwagon, bandwagon shit. That shit sends me running for the hills. Like there's some things that I'm like, whatever, y'all all doing it, I want to do it too. But for some reason, things that are a little bandwagony, I'm like, nah. So when I came back online, I took a long time away from the internet too. I didn't have a phone for a couple of, wasn't with it. I stopped posting. But when I saw how many people were doing readings, it kind of took me the other way because I didn't want to come off like, oh, here goes another one doing readings. Like it's really something that I felt drawn to. For my grandmother used to play with these cards, this game called Briska, and it's if you look at the cards, they're tarot cards. You got the cups, you got the wands, you got the swords, and you got the pentacles on it. It's an old game from Spain, and I've always been intrigued by those cards. And my aunt hated those when we played those. When my grandmother would play those cards with me, my aunt hated it, and my aunt was really into the church, and I never understood why she would hate when my grandmother would play these games with me, and now I get it. So one day that those cards disappeared. Wow. Out of thin air. I know my aunt took them and she did something with them.
Not in my house.
Yeah. So, and that sucked because that was something me and my grandmother would do a lot. But anyway, so that's something I always felt called to. The same thing with the Reiki. When I got my first Reiki session, that is something that resonated. So it wasn't I can make money off of this, but the same thing with the readings. My first couple of readings, free. What are you like? It's such that's how I know it's for me too, because I feel so in my element. And the Reiki thing, that's something I took a long time. First of all, I wanted to find the right Reiki master. I didn't just want to jump on another bandwagon. And I wanted to make sure that I was at the level, the frequency, the vibration, whatever you want to call it, that was authentic to that resonated with that was on the same level. So when I present myself, it's authentic. And things like that, like doing the videos that I do, and sometimes it's not easy because I don't want to come off as another. Yeah. But then Spirit would tell me like, yo, your authenticity is gonna shine through. Like, who cares what people think? The real ones who see you, you don't gotta worry about that. And Spirit is gonna send you exactly what you need. But it's gotten saturated a bit, like. Just like everything, though, they take everything that's empowering the collective and humanity and society, whatever's empowering us, they dilute it. It's like they add things and they add the propaganda and they add the things to dilute its sacredness. And to dilute its sacredness. I don't even think I gotta say anything else to add on to that.
No, but let me tell you what is coming through right now, going back to the authenticity again. So like, okay, we're in a time right now that a lot of people are going to receive the information in a particular format. So that's why we got to get into how they're willing to receive it. We got to do the TikToks and the reels and the tarot and the this and the that.
That content creation.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Oh,
so it's God. Like all we want to do is just deliver information, whatever the thing is we want to share. So we gotta, so we have to remember, going back to, we gotta bend and conform a little bit. We gotta bend and shift a bit. You know what I'm saying? To kind of make room for this new way for us to deliver whatever the thing is, especially. So going back to being authentic in our work. We don't want to even do it. We don't want to even get on the TikToks and the IGs and stuff like that.
I ain't got no TikTok.
Okay, like we have to. We have to.
Yeah, we do. I don't got no TikTok. I probably got to make one.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to be like,
I mean, I be dancing and stuff, but damn. I do it. I want to do it.
Yeah. So no, you know what? But you know what? We gotta let loose a little bit and have fun with, with whatever's the current thing right now, because that's where people are receiving the information.
Yeah, it's true. You gotta be fluid. And you gotta be flexible like water. When there's a rock in its path it swims above it or around it. It just don't stop flowing.
Right.
So you gotta come, I don't like using the word conform, but that's because it's been associated with negativity. You kind of do gotta conform, but to your own, I guess, leisure, or you gotta make it authentic to you.
Yes.
Make sure you're not forcing yourself. Like the path of least resistance. Like if you gotta discipline yourself to a way where like, look, this is something I know I have to do, because everything's not always gonna feel good until you're doing it. And until you see how it's really resonating with you, because you got some stuff that's preventing you from seeing the bigger picture. So it's true, like that content creating and stuff on IG, I'm not gonna front. It sometimes it takes a lot out of me where I don't want to be on the phone. But I have to realize, like, you gotta allow yourself to dive into different things and be open and have fun with it. Make it authentic to you. Do it your way, but do it. Just do it. Do it the way you feel you need to do it, but do it. And yeah, like, don't try to change your perspective. Again, like you said earlier, you got to be open to different perceptions and different ways of doing things. Like, this is what I want to do, but you know what, spirit, if there's another way, if there's something I need to check, I'm open to that. I'm open to new ways of being, because we out here unlearning and relearning. It's never ending. So instead of bitching about it, make it fun, and don't be scared to make mistakes. And the realer you are, the more you attract real. The more authentic you are, the more you attract people who are going to see you and understand your process and your journey. And like when I make a mistake on them readings, or when I'm like, I was nervous, but I like that, because me personally, I like when somebody's raw and authentic like that. And it's not some where I'm just seeing one part of, I don't want to know your whole life, but I want to know that I'm watching a real person. Like, so if we was in face to face, I don't got to worry about having to wonder, is this person real right now? Like, I like that raw authenticity personally. That's what I like. And a lot of people that I've come across and that I hang out with, talk to, whatever, they appreciate that too. Like, that fake shit is an instant turn off. And we from New York. There's a lot of fake shit in New York, but at the end of the day, like, we appreciate that raw and uncut stuff. But again, levels.
Fakeness is over. Fakeness is over. Anything.
I don't even like talking like that. Like, oh, she fake. Like,
nah, it's over.
I hate that. I hate it.
Yeah, you gotta show up authentically, or don't show up at all. This is the space that I'm in. Like, you cannot show up in any kind of way other than that, like, because with the magnitude of our abilities, right, all of us are coming online with all of these spiritual gifts, so we're gonna be able to see and decipher what kind of energy that you're bringing with. So the days of being fake and lying to yourself and lying to others about the things that are just going on within you, those days are done.
Pretty much. And when I come across those inauthentic energies, I send them love and healing, because that just shows that there's another level of healing that they need to do, where they can't even feel like they could be their real selves. And to me, that I've been there. Like, I've tried my best not to come off as fake or whatever, but when you have that fear of really being yourself, or you don't even know yourself enough to do it, I send love and healing, because bendito, like, dito. That's what you need more than anything. Yeah. But again, there's levels, because there's people who do it regardless and they be knowing better, but whatever, that's another topic. You still get love and healing, because you still need you to heal. You need to heal. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, love and light.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Quantum Talks, Healing Through Conversations. Remember to tune in next week for episode 4, where we discuss the importance of building conscious relationships. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Next, we have our collective message with Chris.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the tower portion of this episode. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here and sharing this space with us. Now I'm just gonna pull a card of just guidance, a message that spirit may have, something basically to tie in the entire episode. So I'm gonna open up with a word of prayer. Um, Dear divine, my bad, divine prime source, my ancestors, angels, and guides, I thank you for this episode. I thank you for this moment of time. Now I ask you to just join me real quick. Give me and those who are listening a little message of guidance, a little confirmation. Give us whatever we need in this moment. I thank you for this space. I thank you for utilizing me as your vessel, as your conduit to relay this message. I pray that whoever needs it receives it exactly when they need. And yeah, just extend gratitude. So, yes, I ask for a message for the collective who's tuned in, who's listening at this point in time. And may they receive it well. All right, let's get to it. Ooh, I'm using the Deviant Moon Tarot today. I like to fluctuate between the mystical moments and this deck. I feel like this deck kind of resonated with what we were talking about today. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, Spirit, let me get a card, focus of intention, guidance, a message, whatever needs to come through for everyone who's listening to this at this point in time. A card fell out, but it fell out face up. I like to take them face down, so we're going to try this again. A message of intention, guidance, a message of whatever they need to tie in this episode today. Thank you to my ancestors, my angels. Oh, there we go. All right. The card that came out today was Judgment. This is a great card. This is basically judgment after a cycle. You can say Judgment Day. In the Bible, it talks about when an angel comes and it sounds a trumpet, and all the souls basically ascend and level up. So what the message that's coming through to me is, first of all, let go of judgments. Let go of judgments of others. Let go of judgments of yourself. Let go of judgments that you may have when it comes to your journey and where you currently are or where you've come from, because there's no need for that. I believe we talked about that today too. Like, the discernment is being able to process something without judgment. So do your best to like let all that outside energy and all of that load that you feel you need to carry, let it go. And look at this card as a way of things that you've been looking to cultivate, and that all the hard work that you've been putting through is leading to better days. Like, you're reaping what you're sowing, but in a good way. Don't be so quick to jump on the negative. That's for some people. Now there's others where you probably need to take a closer look at the things you've been doing and the things you've been saying and the things that you've been choosing, because like everything, there's two sides to the coin. So if you see in this card, they kind of look like they're begging for forgiveness or what have you, but that could be either because they feel they need to, like they know they need to, or they're being too harsh on themselves. So wherever this message lays for you, um take it, take heed, take it with strides. Listen to yourself, trust yourself, and take a little accountability for where you've been, where you're coming from. Um, if you know you've been doing the best, celebrate yourself. If you know you could be doing better, do better. Like, don't be so hard. Don't make this more difficult than what it has to be, because there's honestly no need, and that's not what the universe wants for us. The universe wants us to ascend and to grow and to feel like the things we've been through are leading to something. So the message that's coming through with this today is count your blessings, count your efforts, focus on what's in front of you, and know that, again, what you're sowing, you're now going to begin to reap. So, however that translates for you, just take that with you, put it in your pocket, and see where spirit leads with that. So, yeah, that's the message for today. And it's not all bad, so don't panic, but just, take it with stride. Use your discernment, and keep your energy clean so you know exactly where this message falls for you. So, yeah, thank you for joining us, and that's your message of the day.